I am very bad at fighting games. I've always been very bad at fighting games, but don't click away yet because I'm going to change that. And this video is going to be all about that. Unfortunately, I've kind of already started. I went to DreamHack recently, played some Street Fighter 6, and started picking up some things here and there. Then I purchased the game and played a little bit, but then I got sick. So now it's in full force. And I'm going to spend 30 days trying to get even better at Street Fighter 6. I'm still bad. And on July 1st, which is actually in less than 30 days, I'm going to be competing in my first local ever. I'm competing in a fighting game for the first time ever because I've always been bad at them. So this video is going to take a look in how I'm doing it, how I'm learning, what has been helpful to me as a super beginner, and what happens on July 1st and a little bit after that to see how far I can come in Street Fighter 6 in 30 days. I mean, I don't even know what the terminology means. I don't know basics for the most part. And I'm going off of now about 3 weeks of semi-casually playing Street Fighter. We're going to get a lot more intense with the learning, the practice, and hopefully get a lot better. So let's see how it goes. But these little things have made me a lot better in a small amount of time, as I just let him super me. So today is June 15th, and that means there are about 15 more days until the tournament. And I'm going to go over what I've been learning in the week or so that I've been playing, how I've been learning it, and then some things that didn't make sense to me when explained by experts, but I found a way to explain them to my newbie brain, and hopefully that'll help some other people possibly. But I'll show you my progress and how I got where I am now, and hopefully it's even better in the next couple weeks. So let's dive into that. Okay, so first off, Street Fighter 6 already has a lot of different ways that you can learn the game. Even World Tour has some missions and things that help you learn certain mechanics and can help you get used to fighting in different styles. But your fighting ground has basically everything that you need. So when I first started on 6, what I would do is I would read a character guide for who I was going to play. I would try out some combo trials and then do some training. And then I would move to casual matches or going to World Tour and sitting at a cabinet and testing out some of the things that I just learned in a casual fight. As you can see, I do have a rank currently because I do want to also test some of these skills in ranked and see myself climbing up the ranks. I first started about a week and a couple days ago now at rookie 1 star, and now I've made it up to iron 1 star, which to me is pretty good for never being good at fighting games and just starting out really learning, especially just starting on Street Fighter. So those are what I started doing at first. I play Cammy currently, so I am very lucky that Punk is also one of the best Cammy players and has put out a guide. So what I'm doing with this video, and you can kind of see that I'm only 10 minutes into it, is I am watching it and learning some basics from it in chunks, and then going and implementing those in casual matches. For me, it's been a lot easier to do it that way instead of just trying to watch this hour video, learn everything all at once, and then try to use all of it all at once. Might not work for you, but for me it's helped my brain a lot. So instead of just trying to do everything at once, I'm building these blocks on top of each other and getting better and better, and keeping those blocks that I've previously learned and mastered getting higher and higher. So I'll put a link to this video in the comments, of course, Punk. If you know Street Fighter, everyone should know who he is. Went to DreamHack and he won the first offline tournament, and I was able to see that, so that was pretty cool. But in case you don't, this is a great video and you can check out Punk. So this was my first really big sticking point, and it was the concept of basically canceling. And since I had never done that in a fighting game before, the way that people explained it to me, people who are really good at it already and it's muscle memory for them, it wasn't really clicking, so I just had to keep trying it a couple different ways. And I'm gonna see if I can explain it in a better way for like a beginner. And I might even mess it up because this one is harder to me for some reason. But basically you need to get the second move out before the other one is even fully done necessarily. So that's the first move right there, is the down and the medium kick, and then you need to follow that up with a spiral arrow. And if you do it too slow, it's gonna go like that. It's not gonna give it to you. If you do it, it's hard to do it too fast, but see, like this is, to me in my brain, doing it too fast because I'm messing up the inputs. So I kind of do it like a da-da, I think. It's hard to explain out loud. There we go. Yeah, so I am hitting the first move, and then while I'm already hitting the first move button, I'm doing the quarter circle. So, and then by the time I've I'm good, and now it's in my muscle memory. I hope that helps someone. I don't know, but so I'm hitting it, already doing the quarter circle, and then hitting the other button. I don't know. Hopefully that helps. This one took me a lot of tries to get down. If you're stuck on one of these combo trials, just keep doing it, and try to do it as many ways as you can over and over, and then once you hit it once or twice, it'll kind of click in your head and you'll just repeat it, over and over how you just did. And I'm still not perfect at it, but if I take a second to think about how I just explained it, like I'm already doing that and I'm good. Because the way my brain was taking it is I was down and then I hit this and then I had the quarter circle and do it, but it's really like the second I'm doing down medium kick, I'm already working on quarter circle, and then the button taps are just da-da. See? It worked. That explanation works for me, so hopefully it works for someone else. The other thing is I am playing on a fight stick with a joystick. It's the Razer Panthera. I know there's a lot of different fight sticks out there, like the Hitbox, and Punk uses a controller actually, so this might not work for all setups, but hopefully helps for someone. So at this point, basically what I have gotten down with Cammy are what punches and kicks are good, what they're good for, spiral arrow, cannonball a little bit, and some other semi, more special moves. I also do know how to execute a special on Cammy, but I often do it wrong, or it's really hard to combo into it for me, which is something I'm working on. So with where I'm at now, I'm going to play a casual match, like I mentioned, maybe two, and I'll just kind of share you some of the gameplay of what it looks like where I'm at now. And then hopefully by the end of the video, it's a lot better. And if not, you'll hear about the local on July 1st, how it went, and all the information, and hopefully some footage inserted from that. So let's see how the matches go tonight. Oh! That was pretty good. So a lot of the things I'm focusing on are using actual strategies, and it might not be the flashiest, but you know, I'm punishing certain things. I'm not just trying to get off, you know, all my supers or special moves or anything like that. I'm just trying to specifically punish and counter what the person I'm playing against is doing. One of the things that I'm really bad at right now, and I know that I'm bad at, is anti-airs. I know how to do an anti-air, and I know when, but doing it correctly and the right timing takes a little work. This person, no offense to this person, is not very good, and they were doing just a couple of things over and over and breaking. They don't want to rematch. Breaking some of the things that you really shouldn't do as a new player. Not like I have very much room to talk, but these are things that I've learned and have helped me win in situations like that. Jumping usually is not a good thing to do unless you know that you're going to be safe. Doing, you know, spin kicks and things like that, not very safe unless you know that you're gonna actually hit, because it puts you in so much motion that it's very easily punishable. And so that's what happened with that fight. Maybe the next one will see me get my ass kicked a little more. I play a lot of Kens, so Ken is probably one of my better matchups now. Oh my gosh, he's already burnt himself out. I'm getting a little greedy right there to try and punish the fact that this person burnt themselves out. Alright, this should be the setup. Oh, right at that moment. One of my friends is also a Ken main, so I get a lot of practice against Kens. And at my level, a lot of Kens do the same kind of thing. So if you are new to the game, there's just one thing to remember. If you want to get better, don't just go throwing stuff out or, you know, doing Hadoukens. I mean, doing a Hadouken is actually really good, so maybe not that advice, but you hear what I'm saying. I also think I tap throws. Oh, that went faster than mine. I tap throws a little too violently. I'm gonna try not to do that. As you can probably hear. And right here I'm using the really easy method of just splatting him. See, like that? Like, I'm just sitting here. You definitely don't want to throw out the spin kick at me. Good job. See, so those really just what I've talked about so far in the video can help you get a lot further than just being an absolute noob. I'm gonna rematch them, but we're getting really long into stuff here, so I'll see you the next day. Alright, so disregard my creepy tank topness and wild hair. It's very hot today, so I'm gonna make this section quick. Today is Friday, June 30th, the day before the first local. I did play some at DreamHack, but I didn't even own the game. I was playing on controller, wasn't sure who I was going to play, yada yada. But tomorrow is the day. So I'm going to show you some clips from the streams I've been doing that show some of my progress, some moments I'm really happy and proud of, and then I'm going to practice some more tonight, and then tomorrow is the day. Yo! That was so perfect. Nice block there. Oh. Oh, I thought I had that. Why is it doing that? Wondering if I'm like barely touching L2. Damn it! Should have jumped forward. At least, like, they're on modern controls, but they're not just spamming they're not spamming throws over and over, running bear grab over and over. Oh, nice. I don't know why you just left it there, though.
Right. Who's next?
What's up? Let's go. So just as a recap of what I've been doing, I did have a bad week where I didn't really play or train much, and it kind of put me behind. But the key things I'm doing, I'm learning the fundamentals of Cammy and how to play her. I'm learning about fighting games in general. So one thing that I realized is like a gap in my knowledge is just fighting game terms in general. I've never seriously played a fighting game, so I looked up terms that I need to be aware of, and I learned those, like what DP is and what that actually means, because DP means dragon punch, but Cammy doesn't have a dragon punch, and you know, commands and normals, heavies, all of that. Heavy, medium, and light I kind of already knew just because that's pretty basic in the game. I needed to learn what special moves could turn into an EX or all of that. I'm still learning. And I have previously been using a specific anti-air, which is pretty it makes sense. You knock people out of the air. It's anti-air if they jump or come at you from the air. But I've been using one that's a little harder on Cammy, which is like a back kick, when she has a medium punch uppercut that's a little easier and I think safer to get out. So I wrote that down, just things to relate back to. So tomorrow I'll have some footage. I'll talk about how it went after the fact and we'll see how I did. There is one more thing. I last minute decided to join a online tournament yesterday, and it was for the same night, so it was last night at about 7 p.m. When I joined, there were only about 16 people signed up, so I was like, oh cool, maybe I have a chance to, do a little something. Yeah, by the time 7 p.m. rolled around, there were over 30 attendees, and my first matchup was someone who is literally a professional Street Fighter player. So I went 0-2 in the first bracket and 0-2 in losers bracket pretty quickly, playing against masters level players. I'm still an iron, but it was good fun. Every loss is still a learning opportunity in fighting games. So hopefully tomorrow, even if I lose, it's like 1-2 instead of 0-2. So hello. Today is July 2nd, the day after the first local that I ever attended. Now, before I get into how it went, my performance, my matches, everything like that, I did grab a tiny bit of footage from the venue, and I wanted to show that and then talk about the venue and tournament itself. So the tournament was hosted at Turning Point Beer in Texas, which was actually a really nice location. It was very open and spacious, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. A lot of times, certain gaming events, things like that, are kind of cramped into one little spot. So it was really nice, and for people who drink beer, they had a ton of options. Myself, I had 2 Cokes and a lot of water, and there was a food truck outside which had some amazing food. So all in all, that side of it was really good. The tournament organizers were great. So it was the Al Diaz anniversary X the Big Baddie. So shout out to the Big Baddie and that group and everyone that put it on. It was really great. But there were some things I feel like personally I was not prepared for, and I'm going to go into those, and maybe this will help you if you're getting into fighting games and wanting to do tournaments, whether those are locals or online tournaments, things like that. Here are some things that I think occurred from me playing and what might help you prepare in the future. So let's dive into talking about how my matches went and what I think happened. The background is still a work in progress, the new one that I'm trying to put together, so disregard all of that. It's not super set up, but the matches. So the tournament, as usual, was a double elimination tournament. If you don't know what that means, you start in what they consider a winner's bracket, and the first time that you lose, you drop down to a loser's bracket, and you have another chance to fight your way all the way up from loser's bracket to the top 8, and then technically you can even win the whole thing from the loser's bracket. So you essentially have 2 lives. Yeah, the two's right there. First match in the tournament in the winners bracket, Was kind of late into us being there as I was in pool 2 at the very, very bottom. And it was up against a Ryu player. And Ryu is actually one of my better matchups currently. I think I've won 2 against Ryu and lost 0. It's not a huge sample pool, but it wasn't one of the matchups that I was overly concerned about going into the day. If you're skipping ahead or you don't remember, I play Cammy, or I was learning to play Cammy. So I did practice in the morning at home on my home setup, and I had 2 rough ranked matches, but then once I got a little warmed up, I had 2 to 4, maybe 4 really good ranked matches. I actually got my first perfect KO in a ranked match, and I was feeling good. There was about 4 hours or so between that time and when I actually started playing, and I didn't warm up at the event before playing. The setups they had were mostly being used for the tournament, and I didn't want to get in anyone's way. I'm kind of overly considerate that way to my own detriment, because sometimes the systems were open. I just didn't want to get in the way potentially if they needed to hop on there. So in the first match, I think there is a lot of difference offline versus online, especially with your inputs, kind of any delay, and just being in person at a new setup on a new system. Most likely, if you play on PC and then you're playing on PS5, all the noise, and I lost. I feel like I did really terrible. I didn't get a lot of my fundamentals out. I whiffed some things, and my opponent did as well, but I did not capitalize on those as well as I should have. So basically the same thing happened in the losers bracket, unfortunately. I was up against a Guile, and I haven't played against him too much, so I wasn't sure everything to expect. And I think one of the greatest weaknesses to what I've been learning, and maybe even Cammy in general, is the lack of projectiles. From my experience, people who are less experienced in the game might use a lot of projectiles, and me being not a experienced fighting game player, I do not have all the tools at my disposal to counter those efficiently. Cammy does have the spinning back fist move that actually goes through projectiles, but it is not the easiest to time and pull off in that environment. So my strategy was to inch ever closer to them to get through the projectiles and then get some hits off. But in the end, it didn't work out. I think I could have done a lot better than I did. It was just a collection of things that happened that made it so I didn't. I obviously need to practice a lot more and practice different characters, different matchups, things like that, and hopefully get more used to performing in person. When I went into the day, one of the things I really wanted to do was to play more defensive and not overextend too much and have the opponent come to me. But where both of my matchups were against characters with projectiles, they had that to fall on very easily and could just sit back and spam that very often. Now, if I was a better player, that wouldn't have been an issue, but unfortunately, about a month of practice, not even a really great month of practice, is just not enough to overcome things like that. So, where do we go from here? That might be your question. From here, I don't want to lose interest in learning the game. I think for me personally, I'm going to try to stick with Street Fighter 6, even though Tekken is coming out and looks really good, and Mortal Kombat 1 will be here in no time and looks really good. Maybe I'll pick those up casually and play, increase the hand speed or coordination and everything like that. But Next step is to learn more characters in Street Fighter 6 and see if there is one that clicks better and faster and more efficiently than Cammy did. I don't think Cammy is a bad character. I think she's a lot of fun to play. I just think she's more middle of the tier right now and possibly not one that fits me as well as another might. But the game just came out a month ago, and it was important to me, in my eyes, to stick with one character and learn it to the best of my ability before the local tournament. If there are other locals here in Texas, probably attend some of those. Hopefully, make some new connections, friends, things like that. We'll see what happens. Who knows if my brain will change its mind and I'll be on something entirely different a month from now, but hopefully not. I'm looking to stick with it and possibly maybe get a different fight stick, as mine was so generously handed to me from a friend who no longer uses it. So maybe there's one out there that feels a little better for me. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know if anything I talked about helped you, or even if you have anything you would like to share down in the comments. And on to the next project for my channel, which I have a whole list to do. So subscribe and stay tuned.